Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to bind parameters to range filters. For example, in this sales filter column, the start and end values can be parameterized. The X icon within parenthesis refers to the fact that these values can be parameterized, and the same goes for order date. The from and the to date can be parameterized. Now, here's an example use case that I'm working on. So I've got two tables. The first table shows me the sales number by the order date. The second table shows me the sales number by ship date. I've created a parameter called from date. It's a simple date data type parameter that can accept any possible values, and the initial value is set to 1st of January 2013. I'm working on the data set that has data between 2013 and 2017. So I set the initial value to January 1st, 2013. I want my end users to pass a date as an input value, and I want to take this input value and pass it on to the two table visualization on the canvas. And the table should only show the sales number starting from the date that the user has provided. For example, if the user entered Jan 1st, 2014 as a input date, I want the tables to show the sales number starting from 1st January 2014. To do this, I'm going to drop this from date parameter as a filter control on the dashboard filter bar, and you can see that the initial value is set to January 1st, 2013, which is reflected on the UI. Now, on the first visualization, sales by order date, I'm going to bring in the order date as a visualization filter, and I'll change the operator from range to start at, and I'm going to parameterize this date value to the from date parameter that we just created. So I'm basically binding the parameter that we created to the order date. So let me do that now. And when you do that, the parameter is now passing the 1st January 2013 value to the visualization. As a user, if I make a change and change the date from 2013 to 1st January 2014, you can see that the visualization is now reflected and it's showing me data from the date that the user has entered. So let me do it one more time and change it to 2015, 1st of January, and the table gets refreshed based on the input value from the user. Let's do the same thing for sales by ship date. Now, in this example, I'm going to bring in the ship date as a visualization filter, change the operator to start at, and I'm going to bind it to the same parameter that we created in the previous step. When you do that, the table is now listening for the parameter value, which is 1st January 2015, and it's showing me the sales number from that particular year. And you can see that by way of defining a generic parameter as an input control for the end user, we are now able to map that date input value to different visualization on the canvas that use different date columns from the data set, which is really a powerful experience that we can provide to our end users by way of binding parameters to range filters. Let's extend this use case where the author wants to change the operator from start at to a range, and the from date input filter value is still bound to the from date parameter, and the to date, the author wants to dynamically compute it to the current date. So we have a out of the box system parameter that comes with every workbook called the current date. So in this example, the to date filter value can be bound to the current date. So this now provides a much simpler experience where when the end user opens a workbook and passes a date value, this date value is passed on to the from date, and the to value is computed based on the current date parameter that will simply produce the current date dynamically as and when the user opens the workbook. Here's a similar example of binding parameters to a measure-based range filter. So I'm going to use quantity ordered as an example. Before that, I created a parameter called maximum quantity ordered, which is a very simple parameter of double data type. I'm going to drop this as an input control for the end user to enter a maximum value, and I want the table to basically show me the product subcategories that have quantity ordered that is less than or equal to the value entered by the end user. To do that on this table, I'm going to bring in quantity ordered as a visualization filter. and I'll bind the end value of the quantity ordered filter to the parameter that we just created, which is maximum quantity ordered. Let's just say that the user now enters a value as 10,000. This value gets passed on to the filter quantity ordered on the table visualization, and the table will only filter data for quantity ordered that are less than or equal to the value entered by the user. Now let me change this value from 10,000 to maybe 7,000, and the value gets passed on, and the table shows me all product subcategories that have quantity ordered less than 7,000. By way of binding parameters to range filters, we can now dynamically compute the range of a numeric or a date column dynamically at runtime based on the value entered by the end users. And this opens up a lot of possibilities for additional use cases in Oracle Analytics Cloud. Thank you for watching this video.